Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the FCTD podcast. I hope you're all having an excellent day. Um, right now, we are on episode number 3. If you can believe that, it's moving by pretty quickly. And I'm actually having a lot of fun meeting people, getting some information, hearing some stories, and connecting. Because the biggest thing that we want to do here is build a community, which is very important in any capacity. And before we start, I do want to thank everybody that has been supporting, that has been viewing, that has been stopping by to tell us what we've, the good job that we've been doing. And honestly, we can't move forward or do anything without anybody's support in that capacity. So I've, really want to show you my appreciation and tell you thank you to everybody out there, to the guests, to the listeners, to even Red Monkey and Big Rob, because honestly, I wouldn't be on here right now doing what I'm doing without him. So as much of a cliche as it is, I do want to go ahead and thank everybody because that's just how it is. We would not exist without you. With that being said, again, this marks episode 3, and today we are joined by a highly remarkable character, a man that seems to have lived about 1,000 lives in about a short amount of time, Mr. Stephen, as he's known, with a PH. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How are you doing?
Oh, I can't complain. I woke up alive, so I'm good.
For sure, for sure. That's right. Looking at
Oh
the flowers,
boy.
not the roots.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, you, sir, have such an interesting story.
Uh-oh.
And I know we all have stories that, we find relatively interesting, but it seems like you are a real go-getter for knowledge, for truth, for exploration and growth. And that's something that is easier said than done, but for you as a practicing skeptic, I would say, or someone that's hungry for knowledge, it's very refreshing to see something like that nowadays.
For sure. Yeah, no, definitely. I kind of grew up with generally a status quo kind of life, and a nice kind of right down the middle, medium range of salary, kind of, just right down the middle class kind of family. And it gave me an opportunity to see different experiences from people who had both more and less than myself, and as I just met more and more people and kind of gathered more experiences, I also gathered more perspective. So, and I'm still on that journey, and I think that's something that carries on forever. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to get into it.
Hey, as long as you're alive, I don't think that there's going to be a day that passes you by where you don't either externally or introspectively start thinking about something.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Oh man. So I guess we will start with just like every other guest at the beginning. I know you've mentioned that you grew up in a middle class family. Do you think that growing up in a middle, I myself, I would say maybe when I grew up, we were on the lower end of things, but then we eventually worked up to a middle class type of deal, which allowed me a lot more opportunities that I didn't have before then.
Yes.
Would you say that growing up in the middle class area kind of gives you a better, I guess, perspective on things?
See, I think perspective is one of those things that can be discovered from any person's position. And that's what perspective truly is, because regardless of what my story is, perspective is kind of your ability to plug into somebody else's. So I for the sake of perspective, I don't think that it necessarily gave me any particular advantage,
Mm,
but I think it just gave me kind of a social standing of knowing exactly where I am, at least as a baseline. And through from that baseline, I've kind of gone both directions, where I've tried to try to work my way up to upper class, and to first class, and doing all that, and I've also found myself just preferring a tent in the woods, and staying out for prolonged periods of time, and seeing how well I can translate a foraging field guide to real life. So it's kind of it's I don't necessarily think that that perspective is something that you have an advantage or a disadvantage of. I think that it has a lot more to do with your individual drive to pursue more of it.
I see, I see. So you would say more that you draw from a lot of different places to get that perspective kind of as a whole.
For sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I see, I see.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing because and the only reason why I ask is because sometimes people kind of get stuck through no fault of their own,
Sure.
get stuck in certain situations. I know some people that really can't get outside of maybe the mentality or the ideals of their neighborhood.
Right.
Um, and that kind of closes your mind off to things, closes you off to the world, until you decide or are allowed to move out of such circles.
Right.
Um, so yeah, being in middle class, I mean, it does kind of close your perspective in a way because you feel comfortable and it's just like, okay, this is my life and this is what I want to do, and you don't explore anything further than that.
Right.
So I do understand what you're saying, and perspective is always gained as long as your eyes and mind are open. So
Sure.
I think you put that exactly right.
Awesome. Oh, good. That's a good start. That's a good start. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, everybody, guess
Yeah.
what? This guy knows what he's talking about, okay?
No, hey, yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh boy. So, okay, so from there, let's see. I think one of the most interesting things that I've learned about you since we've started talking is that you now live what we call I guess for lack of a better term off the grid. Um,
Indeed.
and I don't know how you exactly describe that, but could you kind of tell us how you even started to have this thought?
Oh yeah, yeah. So kind of just I guess I'll start with definitions.
Okay.
So to the technical term of off grid, usually that implies no electricity, no sewage, water, all that stuff. You're relying on the grid for none of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
About 5 years ago, I converted a 35-foot school bus, and practically every single day of those last 4 or 5 years, I've been making little improvements and constantly doing changes. So off grid as it stands is kind of a is kind of I would call it like a societal term,
Okay.
especially because that implies that if I were like totally boogaloo, or if I was if I was totally off the deep end, then I wouldn't have a phone and I wouldn't have a bank account and all this kind of stuff.
Right, right.
So technically there are some things, like I still prefer cash, but I've got a debit card. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a crazy person here, not entirely. uh, Not entirely, but yeah, no. So basically, my goal with this bus was just having to rely on anybody else less.
Gotcha.
Obviously as a child, I grew up with my parents and grew up with family, so I was in that household. But for me, it had always made I wasn't able to put the pieces together to why you had to go to work to pay someone else to run your water through your faucets.
Hmm.
Like that never really made sense to me.
Right.
Uh, and yeah, now I've fortunately gotten to the point where I have water encapsulation and purification on board this bus. I have solar
Ooh.
power. There's a wood stove, so I have an infinite degree of heat. And yeah, and once I have kind of these starter systems. Oh, and then like my septic tank is obviously completely self-contained, and then you just take that to an RV site or anything like that to dispose of it. But yeah, yeah. So it's starting with kind of simple, bare bones. This is what you need to survive, and then as the years have gone on, it's just become more about thriving and
Ah.
expanding upon those things. Like, and it's not to say that my off-grid system, even as itself, is totally complete. Like, there's always things that I'm trying to improve upon. The two biggest ones being solar and water and capital.
Mm.
Now, I had set up kind of an interesting PVC arrangement on the side of the bus that lined up along one of the drain like divots that kind of stick out from the side of the bus. And that alone helps me collect approximately 14 gallons of water off of a just kind of average storm. So that's a lot of water.
That's tons.
but ideally, I'm going to multiply that system by like five and have all of those systems running into an undercarriage water container that'll be like 100-gallon container that can start to store, and then from there I'll probably have a secondary tank that can do the purification process while that's happening. But this is big picture kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, for now it's kind of like, you know, rudimentary kind of systems. But yeah,
So
I'm very excitable about it. That's that.
basics and essentials first.
Exactly.
Making sure that you have that before you start hooking up those big screen TVs or whatever.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh yeah.
Oh man, that sounds great. It sounds like you're driving like the magic school bus or something, man. It's like capable of anything. It's
That's
insane.
right.
Like,
I do like to say I have done more off-roading in that freaking 35-foot school bus than most people have done in their Jeeps. So I've got that going for me.
oh man, it sounds like a blast, honestly.
For sure.
How do you even like in the first place, how did you decide and settle on a bus? Was it just merely because you understood like this is the capacity and then we can do so much to it that you can't really do with a car or
Yeah. So, like I said, I kind of grew up living with my family, and then I'd moved out and had my own apartment up in the mountains, and I liked the location, but not so much the apartment aspect of it.
right?
And while I was in that apartment, it kind of dawned on me that even if I were to own the property, you're still paying for it as though you're not. You're still paying taxes,
Mm-hmm.
you're paying these
Mm-hmm.
property taxes, and a lot of cases, a lot of what you're paying for is the support of the grid. So that kind of general, and that also applies if you have an apartment, you're still contributing to the grid prices. That it's not necessarily what you're using; it's that plus the maintenance for those things. You know, because
Right,
the
right.
companies that own these things aren't going to break even. That doesn't make sense as a business model. They are indeed for profit, even if they're getting their profit from the government. Well, where's the
Mm.
government getting the money from? From our taxes. So
Yeah.
it's a full loop system there. So I didn't really see that as making a tremendous amount of sense. So that kind of got me onto the idea of living on land. But then, with regards to land, I had started doing a tremendous amount of research. It started kind of how I think the trap is with homesteading, where they tell you to get land, get land, get land, but they don't tell you what you're looking for. They don't tell you
Mm-mm.
what kinds of things you're going to want on your land. Like for me in my situation, and quite frankly, my goals and the goals of my family, having livestock doesn't really make sense for us. Uh,
Mm.
I am very much a meat eater. When like I love my shrimp, I love my steak, but I can't really justify, even in say 40 years from now, big picture, I can't really see myself having cows and that kind of stuff.
I
So
see, I
so
see.
so if we're really trying to expand that bigger picture, it doesn't necessarily make sense for me. But I do end up eating a lot more vegetarian based foods than anything else, which is kind of an interesting thing. But just kind of what my body feels like it's performing at its peak with. But yeah, to bring it back, I think whatever is going to mean off grid to an individual, I think there is definitely a big topic to it,
Right.
being what's actually plugged in. But to what degree of unplugged people want to be, I think that part is a little bit subjective. And
I
uh,
got
and
you.
for me, I thought it was land, but then I started learning about again, you still have to pay taxes on the land, and then it's like, well, that really makes even less sense, because if the point of paying taxes on the land is to maintain the on-grid stuff, but I don't want any of the on-grid stuff, why do I still have to pay taxes for it? So
That's 22, right?
exactly, yeah, exactly right. So a bus, buy it once, build it however I want it, done. And it's bigger than a van. That a van has to be a tough thing to full time out of, but
Well,
a
yeah.
van you can physically stretch out.
And I would think maybe it would be easier, or maybe I guess I would say it would be easier to retrofit a bus to convert it to your likings and maybe even an RV to a certain extent.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And one of the there are a ton of pros and cons to it all. I mean, there's the insurance is usually the biggest con for people that are considering school bus lifestyles because they don't understand how it all works, and that a lot of states give them trouble and a lot of insurance companies give you trouble. But in my opinion, that's totally worth it because when you can take a vehicle, strip it down to the absolute bare shell, and insulate properly, that makes a huge difference when you're talking about longevity and comfort of actually occupying this space. Because most motorhomes, most commercial degree motorhomes are not very well insulated.
Mm.
They're usually just like barely, they'll throw in, some fiberglass insulation and call
Some
it a
pocket
day.
lint, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's a pocket lint, and then they'll call it a day, which, funny enough, is usually the first thing that introduces mold into an outdoor vehicle is that fiberglass insulation that they're just recklessly tossing in there.
Mm.
So yeah, that alone was one of the things that kind of got me on the rabbit hole of learning about insulation and R values and kind of like general handyman things on top of the general handyman things of building framework and some of what you're tearing apart when you're building a school bus is structural. So you want to make sure you're not taking away like genuinely important things, but also you're replacing that with something that makes sense for the living aspect of it, but also everything has to be considered as a moving part as well. So
Gotcha.
it's a very interesting balance of building. But fortunately, I'm not the first one to do it. So there's a tremendous amount of information on YouTube and all over social media.
God bless it.
For sure.
So, I mean, okay, so after hearing your description, it kind of sounds more like, I guess the layperson or the average general public would say, oh, yeah, he's living off the grid as a majority term. But I
Right.
think more accurately, honestly, I just feel like you're just living your life on your own accord.
Correct. Yeah.
What works for you?
That's pretty much it.
Hey, that makes sense to me, man. I
Right.
mean, I feel like a lot of us, and it's not like I know everyone in the world, but I feel like a lot of us are living halfway for ourselves.
Sure.
There are a lot of things that we personally want that we put on the back burner, or the ways that we want our lifestyles to be, and we assume a lot of times that, well, it's this way now, and it's always going to be this way, and I can't kind of change any of that.
Right.
And I don't know how much of that is misunderstanding, fear, or people feeding you this kind of crap. I understand too. Nowadays, we live in a world where importance of goals and what means the most have kind of shifted a little bit away from what it was maybe even just like 15 to 20 years ago.
Right.
Um, and it seems like you're getting back to really connecting with what matters.
Right. Right.
And that is a huge thing. And I'm so glad that I have you on here for this because it's not just people listening, but even I could take something away from
Oh,
that.
sure.
You
Sure.
know,
It's a mutual exchange, man. That's what it's
yeah.
all about.
As long as you're open and receptive to things, I
Correct.
feel like you can grow every day.
Right. Right.
Man, okay, so that's super interesting because here I am sitting in my house paying the fucking property tax and my mortgage every
Oh
month,
yeah. And I will give the disclaimer. I am in a house right now.
right?
Yeah, I am in a
Unless that's
home,
like the
man.
inside of the school bus, I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's so spacious in here. Yeah, right. That's
Oh
right.
man. So I mean that's cool that you've decided to kind of just take your own life in your own hands, say screw it with everything else.
Right.
You realize that I have an X amount of years to live. Do I want to go through motions or do I want to live?
Right. Exactly.
Oh man, dude, that's commendable.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
Uh,
And look, it's not like I'm not gonna sit here and try to be like, oh, it's all sunshine and lollipops. Nah, man. Life is hard. Period. Like, end of sentence. Period. It's hard for everybody. But
Agreed.
a lot of my challenges with regards to my house are just a little different. Most of the time, they're not cost related, which also sounds kind of counterintuitive. Like, oh, school bus can't be cheap to maintain. Not really, but in the grand scheme of things, it's also not really that expensive to maintain.
Mm.
like something that I've kind of given to kind of help some people come to the dark side of of van and school bus living is I'll be like, hey, well, a tire change for a single tire, if I'm getting a good quality tire, of course, will cost me about $900.
Jeez.
That's pretty steep, but I also don't have an electric bill, taxes, so I literally have none of the bills. I
Hmm.
have no other
So it
bills.
kind of evens itself out in certain ways.
Correct,
It might
correct.
even
But
end up being cheaper at the end of the day.
exactly, exactly. I think last year I had a breakdown on the side of the road. Now, the part that failed was a $24 gas buoy, or not gasoline, it was diesel, but the little buoy that follows your tank to tell you what your level's at, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
20 some dollar part, and it got stuck at full. So I'm driving. Every once in a while, you peek down, you don't think anything of it. Oh, I'm good, I'm good. Nope, bone dry. I was trying to drive up a hill, engine started sputtering out. Overnight, overnight, with that failure of a 20 some dollar part, that cost, I think, about $2,700.
Ooh.
So something like that, kind of scary. And it still sucks, obviously, when it happens. But to think that $2,700 once is something that someone might be paying for an apartment monthly.
Recurring, yeah.
Yeah, like insert, you know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe toss in a couple $100 on top of that, and whatever, right? But that was one breakdown over the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And then regular maintenance on top of that. It maybe comes out to $1,000 a year.
Oh yeah. And when
when
you put it in that perspective, I'm sitting here thinking, am I doing the wrong thing by sitting in his house?
right, exactly, yeah, and that's exactly what I was thinking when I was in my apartment, and I was thinking like, man, I'm paying $2,000 a month for a 2 bedroom apartment, and it's not mine. The 2 grand ain't coming back to me.
No, no.
And and for being in a normal house, it's kind of the same thing, because, well, does their tax money necessarily come back to you, or does it just keep getting inflated out? Yeah,
It goes to somebody else, and I don't know who that person is.
exactly, right.
And plus, I live in a relatively new build. I would say that this neighborhood, and for those who, for reference, I live in Texas, specifically Houston.
Yeah.
It's a new neighborhood, about 5 year build right now, and they're still building homes in this neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
But on top of all of your mortgage, your property tax, and stuff like that, we live in a very suburban area, so that we have HOA and all that kind of garbage,
Yep.
which
Yep.
it's like, oh, like I don't
You're
even
just
want.
getting hammered from every direction. It's crazy.
For
Yeah.
what? It's like I thought I lived here. I'm sorry. Like I, I thought I could do what with my house what I wanted or whatever, the case is. And it's like I get letters all the time saying da 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 this and that. And I'm like,
Yep.
well, dude,
Yep.
come on. Like I
For sure.
understand like the reasoning for it and this and that, or at least what they're telling me the reasoning for it is.
Yeah.
Um But even us, and it's not specifically because of those types of things, but we are looking for a more free situation. Before this, we did live in a home where there was no HOA. It was an older neighborhood, and I actually like that situation a little bit better, more established areas and stuff like that, because nothing's just gonna go up for no reason.
Right. Exactly.
So man, I mean that look, when you break things down, as far as the expenses for your domicile, I
Sure.
think that seems pretty fair in your on your side.
Right.
When you're
Right.
saying, oh yeah, it's about like $1,000 in over 5 years, I'm thinking, well, I spent that maybe in like the last couple of months on
Uh
things
huh.
I really didn't
Exactly.
want to.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Man, all right, all right. Hey, so you hear that, kids? It's like if you want an alternative thing to look at, this might be something to look at. Just make sure that you do your proper homework, that you reach out, you do some studying, and you don't bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've definitely bitten off more than I can chew a couple times, but I've paid for it now. So yeah.
hey, you're invested in it. You've learned, and I
Exactly.
think that from here on out, this is going to be something that serves you very well.
Definitely. Definitely.
Oh man. So, bringing it on over to, let's say, a couple of stints in the world that you've had. You've mentioned to me before that you're 25 years old at this point, 26 around there.
It's 26. Yeah.
Okay.
I got to
I
remember
don't,
too. Yeah.
it, it
Yeah.
happens, man.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ambitious people that are about your age now. Um, but you have seemed to have a wide range of experiences as far as employment, as far
Right.
as
Right.
career goes, ranging from, let's say, the MMA instructor to being in the military to a shooting range instructor. I'm pretty sure I heard RSO was in there somewhere.
Yep. Range safety. That's right. Yeah.
Um, Warehouse cashiering. So you've done a wide range of things. Does
Right.
that help you know what you want and what you don't want out of a career?
So with that, I think I think all the different positions and different lines of work that I've been in gave me an opportunity to see what kind of relationship with money I wanted to have.
Hmm.
Now, quite a few of those jobs, like being a range safety officer, firearms instructor, I was a combatives instructor, MMA instructor. Like these things were great opportunities to expand my own skill set. And maybe the only one that really paid halfway decent was as a firearms instructor.
Gotcha.
So I didn't
Gotcha.
necessarily make a lot of money in those fields, and I certainly didn't make a lot of money in the military, even with my specific line of work. But it was it each of those things gave me the insight that I didn't necessarily have to hate what I was doing in order to afford what I was doing. So there's always going to be a trade-off, right? If you're not making enough money to live, well, then you need to make more money, and that's really kind of the shitty circle that is kind of happening to our culture right now, because a lot of people are getting stuck in these positions where they have these goals, but then they're realizing how expensive the cost of everything is going, and then they have to give more of their time over to money instead of to their goals.
Huh.
So it's an interesting trade off, in my opinion. But yeah, I think it really opened up my perspective with money, and I've kind of gotten to the point now where I want to, and I'm trying hard as hell to use money to lessen my need for it. Uh,
Hmm.
it's sort of like the mentality of a necessary evil,
Gotcha.
where it's like I don't want to be working for $1 for the rest of my life. I want to maybe use 50 cents of that, not even necessarily to put away. Maybe I'll put 25 cents away, but another 25 of those cents are going to go to, let's grow a garden, you know,
Hmm.
something like that. And what's that going to do? Well, that's going to take away my need to go to the grocery store, you know?
I see.
So it's about making these little incremental changes that kind of opened up my perspective. And I've had these jobs, some of them while I've had the school bus as well. More recently, I've kind of settled into two lines of work that I think are a perfect balance for me. That are managing not only finances but also my time.
I
And
see.
time is absolutely the real currency. So as long as we recognize that is what is being harvested, then we either recognize it's being harvested for someone else or for us. And yeah, I think I've gotten myself to a point where I have a nice balance of that,
Hmm.
where I make good money that I'm able to afford, not even a crazy frivolous lifestyle. It's not, I'm not even traveling all the time. I just kind of go out when I want to go out, and take care of my family, and try to make these little incremental changes to be more independent.
I see. I got you.
Yeah.
So, you found out at some point that you were working for the money and
Right.
you needed the money to work for you.
Correct. Correct.
Ah. And it sounds like a lot of people don't understand that making an investment doesn't necessarily need to be like a stock option or something like that.
Right.
Making an investment can be a time investment, can be a small, like you said, 25 cents, $5, $1,
Right.
from out of your paycheck or whatever it is.
Right.
because in turn it will turn into something else, another resource for you.
Right.
And I think that is important for a lot of people to know nowadays. Everybody's about, okay, let me get this quick cash, let me get as much as I can and not worry about how it's being made or if I'm even going to be happy doing this or how long it's going to take you. And if they don't hit that goal, a lot of times we don't see really good outcomes from that. A
Right.
false expectation, maybe.
Right. Right.
Putting too much on yourself due to a societal standard or what you think maybe is equating to someone taking you seriously or what have you, right?
Right.
And it's kind of like, dude, just live your life. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
what works for one doesn't work for all, but you got to find what does work for you, what resounds with your soul, your mind,
Right.
your body, your spirit, stuff like that. I mean, your happiness is not just located in your wallet. I mean,
Right.
there's so much more. Like you said, you have family, you have things to look forward to. Just watching your children grow is a phenomenal thing, right?
Right.
Man. So would you say that right now, because you've been through all that, that you have found the thing that you like, the route you want to go, and you're most happy now than you've ever been?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
that's
I
great to
mean,
hear.
I don't even consider myself working for my friend. I currently do junk removal. I consider myself working with him. It's
Nice.
a perfect relationship of just coexistence and like, hey, I need you here, and I'm gonna be there. You know. So that's the one side of it, and then and that's with our junk removal business, which of course Rob, shout out, he's
Hey.
also a fantastic part of. And then I work up in the Poconos, more specifically in Jim Thorpe, as a river guide.
Ooh,
So I take people down whitewater trips, and there gave me an opportunity to get some serious credentials now. So all in the rescue world. So like there's the regular CPR first aid, which has come in handy very recently. So I'm very grateful
nice,
for that.
nice.
Wilderness first aid, swift water rescue. Like there's a tremendous amount of different things that you can do in this field. But that's just the professional side of it. From my point of view, those are just like little cherries on top. From my point of view, I'm outside. So it's giving me an opportunity to connect back with the planet, to really
Mhm.
embrace being a hippie. Uh, you
For
know,
lack of a better term.
exactly, right. But touch some grass,
Uh-huh.
But no, it's there's definitely part of the human experience that is being overlooked as a society, which is that we came from the earth before we came from anything else.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe that's not to say, whatever theory of evolution there is, that there wasn't something before. I'm not going down that rabbit hole right now, but just to say that the physical material that we are is of the physical material of this earth, as far as we
Right, right,
as far as we know,
right.
But there is definitely a very, very deep connection that every single one of us has the capacity to unlock if you just go outside and sit in the grass for an hour, you know?
Yeah.
And
I'll be honest with you, man. I've had when I had a lot of static, I guess, mentally. You have a lot of worries and stuff like that because of things
right,
that you have to do in this societal, construct.
right,
Whenever I do go out for a hike, I disconnect, I turn off the phone and, just go
yes,
walking. I walk out of that forest feeling like 10 times better after that. And then
absolutely,
I'm like, get in my car and I'm like, do I even want to go home right now?
right, right,
So
exactly,
it does something to you, I feel like. And we have lost a huge connection as people. I guess overall, certain people have figured it out,
sure,
but all of us, we live like me. I live in a box. I'm like sheltered myself away from what is actually normal for human beings, and that I find that weird.
yeah,
It's so
yeah,
normal for us to be in an artificial type of state that
yeah,
you kind of forget where you come from, what you're supposed to be doing, what you connect with, and even with other people. I mean, when you're outside, you're forced to talk to each other, be with each other, commune with each
right,
other. When you're here, everybody's like, we live in the same neighborhood. I don't talk to my neighbors, man.
exactly, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
for
not
sure.
because I don't like them. It's just
Right,
everybody has their own compartmentalized thing going on, and we don't realize that we're all living together. Hey everybody, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick second to thank the supporters and all the sponsors who helped make this show possible. First, we have a New Mexico brand that's veteran owned and operated by the name of Jiu-Jitsu Cartel. They support the community by helping kids that are passionate about competition but face financial struggles. They aid in sponsorships for tournaments as well as partial coverage for training for families in need, providing them access to jiu-jitsu, allowing for a healthy outlet as well as discipline and character. So if you're interested in more information about Jiu-Jitsu Cartel, you can follow them on their website at jujitsucartel.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Jiu-Jitsu Cartel. Next up, we have Andrew's General Contracting out of Hatboro, Pennsylvania, where they specialize in all of your home improvement needs from floor to ceiling. So if you're located in the area and you have the need for general renovations for your home, go ahead and hit up Andrew's General Contracting at 215-674-2429. Again, that's 215-674-2429. Or you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram under Andrew's General Contracting LLC and tell them the Fight Clean Talk Dirty podcast sent you. Now, back to the show.
Correct.
Man.
One thing that I've really started to understand more of is the oneness of it all, and how much time I spend outside. I mean, anytime I get the chance to go outside, especially when I'm alone, and you can kind of let away some of the societal ego that perhaps we have some persona that we want to keep up if we're around friends and family. If it's just us and nature, what I discovered is that nature has a language, and there's many different languages, of course, but you can start to communicate with some of that to some degree, even if you're just a listener, even if you're not understanding what it's trying to teach you, you can still be out there and listen. And I think having that ability to discern from the noise in our own heads, because again, I think a lot of that is to do with ego, which is why which is why shamans talk about ego death. It's attachment from what you believe yourself to be. This is also a degree of Buddhism, if you will, where it's oneness. It has nothing to do with you. If you become the observer, you start to listen to its language. There are moments where I'll be outside and it'll just be myself, and I'll start noticing things. You start noticing the certain ways that the trees move, and certain ways that the river flows past you, and even if it's a slight breeze in the air, sometimes you'll catch a hint of something that smells nice. It could just be a local flower bed that you didn't even know was around the block from your house, or it could be nature's way of telling you, remember to breathe. And sometimes that's what I'll experience too, where I'm starting to notice myself connecting with nature, and then you'll get a nice soft gentle breeze go by, and it's like, oh wait, nature's trying to communicate with me right now. I should take a nice deep breath. And this is also what meditation is. That's why it's so focused on breath work, because air is one of the most intelligent species, one of the most intelligent languages thereof that exists on this planet. It's been around the longest.
You know what's funny is that first of all, I am not a person that will tell anybody whatever they believe in that they are wrong. That is not for me to do.
Sure.
I feel like I have no right to do that for anybody. I don't even know what the hell is going on, right?
Right.
So for me to tell you like, oh, I know what everything is, it's fine, whatever. I will say this. I've talked to a couple people about this in my life, and my father grew up, he's Hawaiian. My mom is Japanese, but he's Hawaiian Filipino. And man, overall, like there is a religion that goes along with that, but more so than that, they believe in spirituality with the land, connecting with that because they know where they're from.
Yes.
I've never doubted what he has really told me that he believes in, because it has served him well to navigate through life, to understand what he needs to understand. For me, I'm more science based, but I am open to all possibilities, because I will admit to you right now, science does not have the answer for everything, dude.
Correct.
We try to make up sense of things. if you
Right.
have to try to make up something for, I mean, I feel like you're kind of already doing the wrong thing there, right?
Right.
Inserting the human element into it when you're not really just listening and observing to what is given to you.
Right.
With that being said, the only reason why I bring that up is because my father has now, been past maybe about 7 years now.
Right.
And when he did, he specifically told me, do not bury me in the ground. Do not do this. Do not do that. Our religion or his beliefs are you need to get cremated and
Right.
scattered in a certain area. I already knew, like, okay, well, just off of your wishes as a human being, as my father to honor you, I'm definitely going to do that. So we brought him back to Hawaii, got the family place, and then we had a ceremony and stuff, and he's laid to rest there, which great.
Right. Right.
That night, I went back to my wife's family's home. We were staying there, and I went outside, and I felt like the strongest breeze I've
Yeah.
ever felt, and it was not a violent thing. It was strong, a force, but it was warm.
Right.
And
Right.
I
Welcome.
felt like, whoa, man, like, what is that? I can't explain that with science, you know what I mean? What I can tell you is that is, if you want to go the route of maybe like rational logic or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
that's one hell of a coincidence, right?
That's right. That's right.
But if you really just see it for what it is, it's like, man, that's something that is almost what I would describe as a miracle
Right.
of some sort, a
Right.
gift. And if you're paying attention, you will receive that gift.
Correct.
So I see where you're coming from. And to me, look, I believe more into spirituality than I do in a construct of maybe religion.
True.
Religion is a good thing. I'm not here to dog on anybody or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I have a hard time bringing myself to church of any kind, or this or that.
Right.
It seems more to me that people are trying to sway you to join something rather than you attaining what you need to attain at these places. I'm sure
Correct.
you have something to say about that.
Money, 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 money. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
And they
If
don't
there's
get
money to be
taxed,
made.
right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, I see why people do what they do. I do know that a lot of people attend these things because they're looking for clarity and this and that. And that's not a wrong thing to do. Just be careful out there. I feel like when you're looking for answers, you kind of have to look inwards first
Yeah.
instead of outwards for other people's ideals.
Right.
I may be wrong, but there's a lot of people that I've seen that are heavy into spirituality that seem to be very settled with themselves.
For sure.
And you seem like one of those types of people. You're like one of the most calm people I've ever seen in my life, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I
It's okay.
suffer from
I
a
do have to remind myself to like relax my shoulders sometimes. I gotta.
oh
Yeah.
when you have the weight of the shoulders, the weight of the world on your shoulders, it's hard to relax, right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. And we all feel it. We all feel it.
Yes.
No.
So,
I
in terms of spirituality, when did you
yes.
really find yourself being ingrained into that philosophy?
Funny enough, actually in the military. So every Sunday, we were offered the ability to kind of branch out and try different religions.
Hmm.
Sunday was, at least in the training environment of the military, Sundays are a day off,
Okay.
and for the most part, and, I would use those actual off Sundays to experience different religions. Hinduism, Buddhism, Wiccan. There was a whole host. I'd probably tried next to a dozen different religions, and I would go to them week after week, and some of them I'd tried one or two times, and if I liked it, I'd stick around a little bit longer. If I didn't, I'd be like, all right, one's enough for me. I don't really care. But again, that was kind of an opportunity for me, being that I perhaps at that time didn't really have much worldly knowledge of kind of esoteric understandings of spirituality and religion and even the sciences. Which now I've come to believe that those three things are ingrained, that spirituality, religion, and science are still part of that same oneness.
Hmm.
Um, because it's all still the human experience.
Right,
That's
right.
that's what it really is. And one the one spiritual experience that I really had this like light switch effect was actually with Wicca, so witchcraft.
Mm.
How exciting! Uh,
Oh, I would say so.
how exciting, right? But as we had gone into this, it was a big kind of auditorium type of setting, and we're all sat in seats with I suppose what was I wouldn't even know what you would call that kind of person who is kind of taking charge of that kind of environment. I wouldn't know
Right.
because
But they
because
were
I'm not
there.
a Wiccan. Yeah, I'm not pro or con anybody. I just this was just about experiences for me. But anyway, um, this person decided to take the group this one day on a guided meditation, and I was really into just experiencing all of these different things. So I went into every single different religion that I was experimenting with absolute seriousness, and I wanted to see like what makes the most sense to me, right?
Mm.
Because I think that's one thing that religion helps a lot of people with is it kind of gives you a community to organize your thoughts. And because there, with the human mind and the way that it works, we can expand so far beyond our reach, even far beyond the reach of all of the things that already have generational long establishments. We can have original thoughts. That's not something that's totally forgotten upon us. And with this one, again, coming right back to my specific scenario, he'd guided us through this meditation, and I was very serious about it, and I truly committed to taking deep, purposeful breaths and listening to his words as he guided our minds to give us an experience. And the first thing he had done was started with breath work, which is how a lot of meditation starts. And he wanted us to focus on the feeling of breath as we inhale. So imagine a ball of air as we inhale into our lungs, and imagine that energy as a ball of light. Just to imagine it, even if it was completely a fallacy, just completely having fun within your mind, just imagining, right? Story time. But just imagining that ball of light entering into your chest as you breathe in, and
Mhm.
imagine that ball of light leave as you exhale. And just starting with that, and he challenged us to internally, not externally, not vocally, but just internally explain what that ball of energy was doing. And he said, perhaps at some points you'll feel in this still state that this energy is moving through different parts of your body. Maybe it's moving through your arms, your legs, your feet, your ears, whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe you find it moving around, whatever. Doesn't really matter. It's totally subjective to the person. But just to grasp that knowing a little bit more, knowing that there's a very specific feeling. Most likely, if it were to be explained by science, it's probably your blood moving. You're probably starting to feel your blood moving, right? But even just that simple thing of being connected to the fact that you are in fact alive,
Mhm.
coming back to the breath, again, very very strong staple of meditation, coming back to the breath, transforming yourself into that ball of energy. And now with this ball of energy, you're floating through a tunnel. And this tunnel is elevated, and you want to ascend through this tunnel. You want to see if you become this energy, if you can transcend perhaps something that's outside of yourself. And again, as this guided meditation is happening, I'm like, holy shit, I'm a ball of energy right now. What is
Hmm.
this? Right? Because I,
So
I,
you
I
had like
went
a
into it.
moment of clarity.
Right, right. I like that's all I am. I'm just a floating ball of energy.
I accept that.
Yeah, exactly. And like, oh, that's kind of interesting. All right, let's go up this tunnel of transcendence and see what's up here. And the imagery that he used to do, or perhaps just the way he described it, he said something along the lines of imagining this ball of energy transforming into a bird that is exiting this tunnel
Hmm.
into higher consciousness. And as this bird, you've already taken flight because your energy has been transcended. And what's more visual than a bird taking off into flight?
Right, right, right.
That
For
is
our
transcendence
understanding,
right there, right? Even if it's a visual, that's something that we can grasp
yes.
as silly monkey beings that we pretend to be on this planet, right? We can imagine a bird taking off.
Absolutely.
So with this, and there were, this guided meditation probably went on for not even an hour from start to finish, but just that knowing that I was able to look inward so much so that I could feel as though I'm having an out of body experience, completely sober at that, before
Right,
people jump in the comments and call me
right.
a hippie. Uh, you know,
Let's make this clear first of
what's
all. This was during the military
this
stint.
is during my military. Yeah, yeah. I was on base for months, man. but anyway, so yeah, totally sober of substances. So it has nothing to do with that. But knowing that I could, even if it was within my own imagination, transcend into something that's more powerful than my physical limitations, and
Hmm.
that kind of opened it gave me something to think about. You know,
Mhm.
that was something that I started thinking about the following nights. You know, as I'm laying my head on the pillow, like, that was a really strange experience. There must be something more to this. And that was hands down, that was definitely the first experience where I said, there's something that I can't explain. Maybe someone else can explain it, maybe not, but there's something else to us that I could definitely be tapping into, if nothing else, to gain perspective from. So yeah, that's
So that's what let you down the whole, I guess, rabbit hole of discovery then.
yes, yes, indeed.
That was very unexpected. I wasn't going to think that you were going to tell me that you discovered that during, your time in the military, but I guess gifts are everywhere if you keep your eyes open.
Absolutely, absolutely. and
Man.
and I took it seriously. You know, I wanted to learn something about myself, which is
Mhm.
really what I went into trying, and all the trial and error of trying these different religions and different subcontexts of spirituality, and it's just, I wanted to learn more about myself, even if it wasn't as a how can I be better. It's just like, who am I? And
So
is
would
that,
you say that that was the day that your ego kind of took a back seat then?
it
And you kind of
definitely
started looking at yourself as a human?
it definitely did, right? Because
Wow.
and that's when I started realizing, like, wait a minute, just because I've been indoctrinated into believing that 1 plus 1 is 2 doesn't mean that I'm not doesn't mean that I'm not a quintillion different Planck lengths culminated into this ball of human flesh that's floating on a rock in infinite space. You know, there's, you know,
Well, there is something to that because even within like science, right? We understand that energy does not disappear.
correct,
Um, it just disperses.
right,
So you cannot destroy energy. I mean, when we die, yes, our heart stops beating, but those vibrations, the energy that comes from with you, it gets sent out. Who the hell knows where?
right,
Um, but it is almost a recycled thing. And again, like when I look at certain things with spirituality, religion, there are very overlap things. Like
right,
let's say, like my father would describe things that he's interacted with or felt as maybe spirits, beings, ancestral type
right,
things, or maybe negative things,
right,
where I would describe that as energy, simply.
right.
And we know that we cannot, as people, see everything that is here on Earth. Even if we are of this place, there are magnetic fields we cannot see with our own eyes.
Yep.
There are like, I mean, look, antimatter exists. Where the hell is that shit? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
for real.
I can measure it, but I cannot quantify this shit. Like,
Correct, correct.
and that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like science, to a certain degree, has taken over the narrative, and it is a little bit disturbing how it is used now as a tool to control rather than to uncover truth. Because
Right.
that is one of the main reasons why I didn't get into the field of science because I did not want to waste my time arguing with people about what pays for narrative rather than what you should be uncovering.
Right.
I could not be around that. There's so much. We will either get into that or not, but whether
Hey,
you
no,
know.
with that said, the thing that that kind of there are two things with that. So the first one is that um, some of the greatest minds of human evolution, quite frankly, I think immediately to Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla.
Mhm.
These kinds of people made their discoveries not after being lifelong academics. They made them in their mid 20s. So a lot of these like huge quantifiable studies that and decisions that they have kind of come to, um, they made them at a very young age. So it's kind of difficult, I think, for a lot of us to remember that not all of our knowledge can be learned. Some of it has to truly be found, and I think I think that's a very important thing to unlock there. But yeah, so with that said too, about the changing of energy, I absolutely agree. Energy cannot be destroyed nor created as we really understand it. It can only be
Mm.
modified and transitioned into different states of being. So, and when I tell people that perhaps that I'm trying to convince that, hey, there's a little bit more to us than we're talking about, uh,
Hmm.
I'll say, well, everything is frequency first and foremost, and that alone will hang up some people. And I say, well, our hearts are electric.
Yeah,
I mean, when they stop, what do? We hook up an AED and then shock it back.
it's true.
We are electric beings that are carrying currency, that are carrying frequency, and that are emitting an aura that is measurable. I
Hmm.
forget exactly what the machine and the equipment to do it is, but I'm not a scientist.
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. But you just
That's
know
not
these
my
things
field.
exist.
Exactly. I just know that it exists, and I think that that instead of creating these kind of fields where each of these chains of thought are separate, I think if we truly want to kind of evolve as a species, we need to understand how connected everything is. And
Mm,
so much of what we do is looking outwardly to figure out what we are. But just like you also said, a lot of it's going to come from within. Those
yeah,
discoveries, how in the world could you solve a problem like climate change, which, regardless of anybody who believes that it's happening, not happening, being affected by us, not being affected by us, first of all, the planet has been changing forever. Literally. It's we used to be covered in ice.
yeah.
Like, literally, like this is a thing that happens to the planet. Now,
Hmm.
whether or not we're contributing to it, sure, right? Who knows? Who knows? Who really knows in the grand scheme of things? Probably. But if you want to come up with an answer to that, who's to say that it's going to happen outwardly? Who's to say that you don't figure out like, oh, what's something that I do? Maybe the discovery is something that's found internally. Who truly knows? You know, when it comes down to it, the people that come up with the ideas for complex problems created that thought within their mind. So the compromise and the solution is coming from the mind. It's just about whether or not it's being tapped into or not.
Hmm. I think that is very interesting because that kind of leads into this whole, I guess, scalability in the physical world where we are all living. uh, we wake up every day, we have this thing, we have our routine, rinse, repeat.
Right,
So we all think there is one life going on,
right,
one
right.
cycle going on. When in reality, it just seems like to me, the more that I get older, the more that I observe things, I talk to people, I find out more information. There are literally like infinite amounts of world going on at one time under this one thing, and even outside of this earth. I mean, there's a lot of people that'll tell you, we looked out there, there's nothing. Are you sure? Like,
Yeah, right,
have you
right.
went all the way
Yeah,
out there? Are you sure?
like all
Like,
the way out there. Yeah, right.
yeah, we can't even make it outside of this universe, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
and
When they
again,
say
like,
observable universe, it's like, so what's not observable?
that's that
Right.
scientific hubris that I'm talking about, man. And
Right.
it's like science, honestly, to me, means that you're going to work on this thing so much that you're willing to disprove or find the basic truth. if today I told you, hey, I did this study and I found this, right?
Right.
And that would be the truth from then on until you find out later on, well, I have to redact that statement. This is actually what's going on.
Right.
I don't
Right.
feel like that's actually happening in a lot of science-based things.
Right.
And people that do that don't really end up in the best situations, whether that's
Uh-huh.
or
Disappeared,
whatnot.
CIA'd, suicided, all of the things. Right.
Hey man, that bottom line is strong for people, you know.
Yep. Yep.
These types of things are supposed to be for the greater good. And unfortunately, sometimes it's for that dollar.
Right.
A lot of times it is. And that's why, like here, what we're talking about, I really found it important to have a platform where all kinds of people can come on and comfortably talk about what they believe in, because
Right.
here there is no judgment. I really don't, it's not like I don't believe in anything anybody's saying or fully, wholeheartedly do believe in it.
Right.
I believe that everyone should be able to share what they feel, what they believe without any kind of judgment, because that's what this is about. Like I've said, we all live in this world, but there's so many lives going on within it that we have to understand that you're shoulder to shoulder with somebody that's in a different, almost microcosm than you.
Correct.
And
Right.
and it's like, again, even with science, we talk about the concept of time. Time does not pass the same for everybody.
Right.
Um, what is even time? Like in the
Right.
first
Right. Right.
place?
Right.
I have a
A
clock
product, a
and those
product of the
minutes.
assembly line. Right.
Like, what does that mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. Like, there's days where it seems like it's forever, and some
Right.
days where it just seems like it goes by. Time is not static as far as we can understand this. I don't even know if it's physical or if it's just a construct of what I believe because I have just a short amount of tenure here, that that's what I need to be able to kind of reason things. I feel like obviously aging is a thing, but
Yeah.
time is a little bit more, I would say it's not as black and white as we kind of put it. We do it just to schedule things to make sure things run smoothly, but like in the
Right.
grand scheme of things, what is time, you know?
Correct. Right.
Oh
No,
man.
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And again, I think that's one of those things that it comes down to our individual perspective. It's like uh, your single 1 second could be completely different than my single 1 second.
I'm sure it
Yeah.
is.
So even if we come to an agreement of the concept of time,
Mhm.
it, man, it's crazy. It's crazy what the human brain can do.
And I'll be honest with you, that kind of goes into because I'll be like, look, who knows what truth is at this
Right.
point? What you can find out is your personal truth.
Yes.
Um, but that goes into like this whole conspiratorial sector umbrella where it's like, was time the like timekeeping, I would say, is that something that is necessary? Okay, put it this way. Time is necessary. Timekeeping is necessary for us. But is like daylight savings time necessary? I mean, come on. Like 6 o'clock is 6 o'clock. I don't care where you're at.
Correct. Correct.
just just
Yeah.
just work during the nighttime. Like
I wish we could go back to the time of the sundial. That would be
uh
because that honestly that would probably keep us more regulated with our circadian rhythms and
mm.
with the rhythm of the earth than anything else. I
Would
mean
you like to
that's
actually go into that a little bit? Kind of tell us a little bit more about that?
sure. So man, I really think that I, I was going to make a pretty messed up joke there, but I'll hold off on that one.
Hey
The
man,
Industrial Revolution. No. I'm not going that direction. Uh, no, um, no. I really think that if we were to focus more on what the Earth is communicating to us, very similar to what I was just talking about, that we would discover that a lot of the shit that we're doing just doesn't matter.
Mm,
If you get to see the sunrise and or the sunset, that alone is usually a pretty good day. As long as people are happy and healthy, that's all you can really ask for. And I think the further we get divulged into how much time we have, I think that takes away from the actual experience of being in it.
Hmm.
That's why. Oh gosh, I'll probably botch this quote because I'm not very good at quotes off the brain. But
No worries,
in
no
the
worries.
TV show The Office, they're talking about how I think it was like Andy or someone who's like or maybe it was Michael. Who knows? Who knows? But saying, I wish we knew when we were in the good moments, or I wish we knew that the good times were happening while something along those lines.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Hopefully, you know what I'm talking about. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but knowing that you are in the good times, and even if you're going through absolutely horrifying traumatic experiences, like I just went through one 2 weeks ago, which I can circle back on, which that's a terrifying series of events, but I still find myself to be a happy person, and even in that moment, I had a situation where I had to sort of rescue my son, and knowing that I could still be there with him, that
Hmm.
even seeing him in a state of being that was terrifying for me, knowing that I'm still with him. So how bad can it be? You know?
Hmm.
And I can still give him all of my energy. So things could be worse. It could be worse. Maybe I wasn't here. Maybe the people that he needed to help him in that moment weren't there.
Hmm.
And yeah. So even in the absolute peak of horror and trauma, I think it's very important for us to realize that not even that it could be worse, but that we're going to be okay.
Hmm.
I think that's an important thing for us to hold on to.
I see, I see. Um, so I just have to ask this real quick. It's a little bit off topic.
Sure.
It just seems that the great majority of people that I have talked to that kind of followed a similar line of thought that you have, they try to stay away from major things like maybe the junk on social media,
Yeah.
or they don't put themselves all the way out there. Anonymity is freedom. Let's just be real.
Right.
Um, I always tell my wife, like, look, I want to be well off enough to where I'm comfortable. But I
Yes.
don't want anybody to really come up to me in public and be like, "Hey, aren't you blah blah blah?" And it's ironic because I'm doing this,
Yeah,
but
sure. Sure.
but this to me, I feel like is for a good cause. It's not for
Yeah.
my vanity. It's not like I
Yeah.
told somebody like, "Hey, I want to be the star of the show." Da da da. This, that, the other. Everybody needs to praise me. It's not even about me. This show
Right.
invites guests on, and I let them speak. So I am just the platform for that, the vessel for these people to speak.
Yes. Yes.
My anonymity is my freedom. I
Right.
feel like you really subscribe to that too. I only have social media because of this. I have
Yeah.
no private social media. I really don't care, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you?
Yeah, so for me, social media is always that kind of difficult balance to grasp onto because a lot of it can be used for good and a lot of it isn't. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think specifically with regards to social media, I think it's important that as a culture we use a tool because that's really all it is, a tool such as that to observe and not absorb. Observe when there's crazy shit happening on the news.
Hmm.
Don't become it. If you use it as an opportunity to learn things, it can be just as valuable for that. If you want to learn foraging techniques and gardening skills and mechanic trade and plumbing and literally anything you want to learn is on social media. So to say that it as a thing is a bad thing or a good thing is kind of taking away from the point. It's a
Right.
tool. It's a tool first. So so definitely if for the people that are out there that are using social media are starting to see, especially in times of major conflict where everything is falling apart at the same time, I'm not saying turn a blind eye because that is the wrong direction.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
definitely observe it, become aware of it. Just don't become it. And
It kind of reminds me of going back to like, if I were to make a parable, a gun is not necessarily a bad thing. It is not an
right,
evil entity or an object. It is how you use that tool, depending on such. Social media can be a double-edged sword depending on how you digest what you're digesting.
right,
And I do feel that way. There's a lot. I mean, look, I live in Texas. No one has any qualms about guns here.
That's right. That's right.
You're born with two in your hand or whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
I'm originally from California, where they are like literally afraid of guns.
No, yeah.
They're trying to buy them back, this, that, the other. But I am a heavy believer in being able to arm yourself, to protect yourself and those
Right,
that you love. As long as you're not waving it around the street, shooting at people during traffic because you're all upset or whatever, be
right.
responsible with it. You know how to use it. It can be used to take lives and it can be used to save lives, man.
Correct.
Um, and I guess it's the same thing with the social media. There are people that go on there, see things and emulate stuff, and they kind of go down this wrong road where it's like, okay, maybe this is who I need to be, or this is what I need to do, and you get brainwashed in that sense. But there's
Right.
also, like you said, so much helpful information. Like, who's gonna be mad at watching Bob Ross videos on YouTube, right? Like
Exactly.
no one's gonna be upset at that. Or
Some
who's,
happy
like you
little
said,
trees, you know?
exactly. Like, what is that doing?
That's
I've
right.
seen remarkable things on social media. People using it for, again, I'm using social media to connect to people in a
Correct.
great
Right.
sense.
Right.
So it does depend on what sourcing and what that person's intentions are.
Correct.
Um, and it is, yeah, part of it is personal responsibility, although sometimes it's not easy to kind of wade through if this is real or not.
Right.
But it does take time to kind of understand what you're digesting, be it on TV, radio, this, that, even just talking to another person, that can be
Right.
just as poisonous, right? Like
Right.
if you
Right.
go to the wrong person and you start da 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 da, whatever. Or even talking to ourselves. Sometimes we talk to ourselves and tell ourselves the wrong things.
Right.
That starts poisoning you, right? Like,
Right. For
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so you would say that you're not necessarily against social media, you're just against maybe certain aspects of it, just like anything else in life.
For sure. Right. Right. Yeah. I'm not against a company like U-Haul, but if you take a 26-foot U-Haul and plow down 50 people on the side of the road, I've got a problem with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you know,
That's fair enough, man. That's
right.
fair enough. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that's like, I guess when you did describe yourself earlier, again, yeah, you're not totally off the grid. You're not one of these guys that's like, I have zero belief in this. Technology is the devil, da da da, this
Right.
and that.
Right.
You lie somewhere in the middle,
Right.
and you try to be as fair and objective about these things as possible.
Right. And
Uh,
I'm with that said too, I'm also not anti-money. Like and by no means does that, in my opinion, relate to a good work ethic.
mm.
Because I work hard as hell.
Yeah,
Like, you know
I'm
what I mean?
inclined to believe that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like
That bus didn't buy itself.
serious or build itself. Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. But or continue to maintain it and oh yeah, yeah, upgrade it. Yeah, like I work hard as hell. But being that I have less bills, that helps me take some of that work and do more for myself, do more for my family, do more for my community. Like I've actually been the reason I'm in a house is because I'm staying with some family right now, especially while the river season starts kicking up. I'll be back up in the mountains more often, but that's we're not quite there yet. It's still kind of cold here, so I'm still just around family and kind of doing things here. But I used being here as an opportunity to grow a garden out back, and
Nice.
anytime it's fruitful, I will share it with my family, and anytime it's particularly fruitful, I share it with the neighbors. So
Mm.
it's so sure it's work and I'm out there probably like 4 times a day because I'm always doing stuff and always trying to expand and trying to encourage other plants that I know I'm going to be cutting down from when I'm mowing the grass or pulling out when grandma comes over to weed the gardens or whatever, right? But and I'll try to save some plants and it's the way that I do it is it's a part-time job,
Right.
but for how fruitful it is and for how much it can provide for those that are well for myself and for those that are around me, it's priceless, so it's all about where you put your time. That's it.
Right. And there's a certain amount of I guess when you grow things um with your own hands and you
Right.
have a hand in doing that. I know that a lot of people that garden, that do farming, there's a certain amount of respect and love that goes into these things, which transferably should be able to go into people's, when they eat it, that
Right.
should transfer, right?
For
Um,
sure.
a lot of times that we talk about corporations really ruining a lot of industries, and taking the healthy aspects, the soulful aspects out of what needs to be there. You go to the supermarket, you can buy vegetables, but they might not be as nutritious as you think they are. They might be
Yep.
sprayed to hell with who knows what,
Yep.
contributing to all kinds of problems that we have, and we don't even know that that's happening most of the time.
Right.
It is,
Microplastics and everything.
oh man.
You know?
We've talked about it before here, not even
Yeah.
just things that you ingest,
Right.
topical things, the
Oh
clothes
yeah.
that you're wearing. There's a clear difference between what I'm wearing and what you're
The,
wearing.
the
What you're wearing
sunscreen you
seems,
put on to protect you from the sun also gives you cancer.
yeah, it's like, hey, that's great. I might as well have
Yeah,
just
that's
gone
helpful.
outside.
Right, right. Yeah. But
And
now
it's
you're
like, oh,
$20 short.
yeah, and it's really, really tough, I think, especially nowadays, to kind of
Yeah.
sift through what is, I guess, the thing that you should be doing. I know now a lot of people are shifting towards more natural alternatives.
Yes.
People are looking at what information, I guess, has been lost over a number of years due
Right.
to conditioning, I guess.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
So even with that, I mean, there's a reason why for us to be here today as people, you, me, anybody on this planet, that means people had to survive bloodlines before us
Yep.
and they had less. So somehow they were able to move forward with what they had at the time. So does that necessarily mean that we need all of the products that we have now to survive? I don't think so, right?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
And it's a waste of resource, it's a waste of money, it is
Right.
poisoning people, but this systematic thing, in a weird way, props up our society to continue going.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like, what is that? Like,
Right.
I
Right.
understand there's no such thing as a utopian world or a 100% clean world or whatever, but we
Sure. Sure.
do need to start getting
No
back
crime
to,
zone. Like,
hey man,
yeah.
sometimes I feel like I want to commit a crime.
Right. Right. Right.
But
Well, apparently tapping into someone's Wi-Fi, if it's even if it's unlocked, is like a crime. I
oh
think it's a crime
Lord.
in some states. So like, crime is subjective. You can basically
Yeah,
jaywalking is a crime. You
if
know,
it's
like
not one of those
come on.
obvious ones, right?
Right, right, exactly. Yeah, like let's, if we're talking common sense, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah,
So I mean, like, there are a lot of hard truths in this world that we are not exactly that are not exactly privy to us day one.
yes,
You have to go through this journey and meet people and go outside. Like you said, you didn't expect to have your enlightenment, I guess we can call it, during the time that you did.
right,
And because you were open to it, you had it. And it seems like you're a lot better off with that now.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, it definitely. So just for a kind of perspective to how one person goes from the military to living in a bus. I also used to be a very different social standing kind of person. I used to be, real worried about having a nice, clean button-up shirt, make sure it was
Mhm.
nice tailored to me. My my belt had to match my shoes. Like that kind of thing. I was a watch collector. I when I did make good money, I put out some serious coin for like decent watches. And
Mhm.
I when I bought my first Rolex, I was like, whoa, I finally did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like I had to work my ass off for it. And after kind of having that experience, I said like the wheels started turning again, is what it kind of felt like. Like, okay, it's cool that I have these things, but if I don't know who I am, then what's the point?
Mm.
If I didn't feel right within myself, then what's the point of all this stuff? It's just different pieces of different types of rocks and different types of fabrics that I'm wearing. But why that is that what defines me, or is there something that's supposed to be more to define
And
me?
it's funny that you say that because earlier in this conversation, we are talking about what makes up a human being genetically, right?
Right, right,
Fundamentally, whatever's in that watch is probably in you.
right. Exactly,
And
exactly.
you are a more advanced version of that watch.
Right.
So you should appreciate yourself. I mean, like, dude, you can tell time. You can keep time. You know what day, you know when it's
Oh,
daytime,
for
you know
sure.
when it's nighttime.
Right. Exactly. Right.
That is hilarious. And you know what? I don't even fault you for that. That is the world that we are born into, right?
Right.
As far as
Right.
if you're in America, I would say specifically. I don't know what people go out, in the rest of the world, what they believe in or what they grew up in. But
Sure.
here, I mean, we're it's not like I'm gonna wear any, most people when they're growing up, they're like, okay, it's not like I'm gonna wear any clothes. You pick clothes
That's right.
specific, right? To what is in relation to you with your peers or what not.
Right.
And I know what you're saying. I've been through the same thing. Growing up, you see what there is out there, and you
Yeah.
think that, oh, I need this to be able to attain that.
Right.
Um, when that's not necessarily true.
Correct.
You need to be like what I found was that over time, it wasn't the things that I possessed or what I dressed like or whatever. It was that I found that people connected with me because they truly valued who I was as a person, my
Yes.
time with them, how I treated them, how I valued them as human beings.
Yes.
Especially as I get older, I'm understanding like it's those types of things like you
Right.
said, the
Right.
connection, vibrations and resonance,
Right.
those types of things. When you jive with one person, you know that immediately. Why? Well,
Th-
it's probably because they're throwing off those vibes that you're like accepting.
That's
And
right.
your bad
Right.
vibes, you're like, I don't feel good
Like,
about.
something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, you're making me uncomfortable, man.
Right. Right.
So it's crazy that we talk about all those things, and these are old concepts, like ancient concepts that
Right.
somehow we have been disconnected from.
Absolutely.
Um, we listen to music, we don't feel music.
Yes. Yeah.
What is that? Like even nowadays, a lot of instruments are synthesized. And I just talked to
Right.
my wife about this. I'm like, yeah, that's great because you can on the fly, just boom, make music, but you don't feel it the same way as when
Right.
you're listening to records when people are actually singing and playing instruments and you hear that and it makes you,
Correct.
it tears you up,
when,
man. It's
when
a
there's
different
depth
thing.
to it. Right. Right.
Oh
It's
man.
just like listening to someone perform live, you know?
Oh,
It's
that's
the
an
same thing.
experience.
Exactly. Exactly. Because then that's when it's a true exchange of the entire thing. You've got the crowd, you've got the stage, you've got the loud music.
There's
It's more
nothing like feeling it in your chest,
correct.
and you're like,
Correct.
whoa, man, this is insane. Like,
Right. Right.
and those are the type of things that I feel like, the more time we spend disconnected. Like I think it was the last episode we did, I was talking to my guest and he was saying it's weird that we are living in a time where all of us are connected so
Right.
easily but disconnected at the same time.
Yes.
And I don't know what the hell that's about, but he's
Yeah.
true. That's
The,
true.
the whole world at our fingertips, the ocean at our door.
Yeah. You know how many people have neck problems now because we're all like this?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh man, the chiropractors making good money off of that thing.
Uh-huh. Ain't that the truth?
Oh, but we're all like, we're gonna have this evolution. We're all like this, and
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
oh, Velociraptor structure. Oh man. Okay. Well, man. Okay. So I mean, this opens up a whole world of things because it's like, where do we go from here as a topic? I mean, we've talked about so many things, but at the same time, there's so much more to talk about.
Right. Right.
Um, and obviously, the good thing is sometimes when I do talk to people about these type of heavy situations, they tend to get a little deep and negative about things. They're not
Sure.
so uh positive about stuff like you
Sure.
are.
Sure. Sure.
And so it's like, I don't know if I can do an hour of this. Like, you
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It gets kind of rough.
um,
Right. Right.
yeah, yeah. But for you, you
But
seem to have
that's the
found that
exchange of,
balance.
yeah, that's definitely that exchange of energy too, because I even coming into a format like this where perhaps it's atypical because if we're just having a conversation it's one thing, but us knowing that we're on a podcast and kind of sharing this to the, it's like, oh, do I want to say more things, but coming at it from the perspective of, hey, we're gaining something mutual from this, we're both going to gain something, we're both going to have a positive experience from this. I think having conversations like that, even on the interpersonal level, when you're talking to the mailman, and like actually try to engage in a short nugget of conversation with the mailman and see how deep of a connection you can form with somebody that you'd otherwise just, he's just doing his job, whatever. What another day.
Yeah, I mean, he's a person too.
Right, right. It just something to change the format of kind of day-to-day motions. I think it's very important to have conversations like this that you kind of challenge each other to think a little more intelligently and a little more deeply, a little more purposefully, perhaps, instead of just
Hmm.
like, how's the weather today? you know?
Hey, if I was approached to do this podcast other than surface level stuff, I
Right.
probably would not be spending my time doing it.
For sure. For sure.
Again, when I was approached to do this, it was because, well, first of all, I mean, our main thing is obviously the well-being of people, the
Yes.
mental state of people, and that it's a huge thing. But I do believe in a lot of things that Rob was talking about on why we need to do these things, why we need to have discussions.
Yeah.
I wanted to make every guest on here feel as if we were just chatting. This is not an
Exactly.
interview.
Exactly.
This is not
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
da da
Yeah.
da.
For
It's a
sure.
very, I want to teach people how to talk to each other, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
And communication, it's so sad that most negative things happen because of miscommunications,
Right.
whether it be relationships with parents and children or partners in life or friends sometimes break up because of misunderstandings when you could have just talked to each other honestly about how you felt. And if
Yes.
you're mature enough to do that, then it should not be a problem.
Right. Right.
Man.
Yeah.
And even
And
for you, I just met
right.
you and it's so easy to talk to you. I don't
Oh,
like that,
thank
all
you.
we had to
Yeah.
do was engage, right?
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Yeah. And that's not to say that life isn't going to throw circumstances at you where perhaps things didn't go as well as you wanted them to. Like I've lost friends socially and literally where physically lost them where they've passed away and sometimes you have things that you wish you could have done different. Maybe sometimes you wish you could have intervened and say, God forbid, someone ever took their life. I've had close family members that have taken their lives, and I ask myself, like, man, is there anything that I could have done different? Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, it's wild to kind of think about this. Um, but yeah, there's so many different avenues to it. But as long as people are engaging in conversation, I think that's what's really going to continue boosting our community. And
See.
yeah, community is so much further than the block that you live on. It's again the oneness of our human species. It's
Your
everything that we
neighbors
are.
are down the street and also on other continents.
Right. Exactly. Exactly right.
The one thing that only separates us is language, really.
Correct. Right. Right. And
Wow.
now again, to give the power of social media that prowess, now it can happen instantaneously, where conversation
Yeah.
is translated, and you can
Yeah.
still have intellectual. You know what I mean? So it's like
I
it's
mean, I
all
hope
about how
that
you use
people do understand that we are more similar than anything else. I mean, look, race is a thing that divides you, yes,
it.
but
Yes.
it's not necessarily something that defines you. At the end of the day,
Correct.
if you cut me open, you're going to find the same stuff in me that you're going to find in other people, right?
Right. That's right.
And I understand that nature does not necessarily subscribe to equality,
Right.
but it doesn't mean that we can't treat each other the same way with the same respects, unless you don't deserve that shit, because some people don't. Let's be real.
Correct. Right. I think
But
that's
they
what
put
it comes
themselves
down
on
to
that island.
morality. Right. Right. It's definitely that morality aspect because ego is kind of that surface level and what we project beyond ourselves. But morality is what's going to shine through all of that, and that's what's going to contribute the most to the aura that people pick up from you. Is if you have a good moral basis and you want to see those that are around you succeed, that's what's going to happen. That's also kind of the idea of manifestation. It's that you become what you seek. So trying to elevate that morality to a higher level will definitely help those around you. You know.
And while we're here, I mean, at this point of the podcast, if you have time, we can talk about maybe like one, two more topics. And like I said, you have so much to say, so much knowledge, and honestly, it's entertaining as hell.
Oh, thank you.
We
Yeah,
were gonna
yeah.
have to have you on, continuing as far as we can. You're like gonna be
Sounds
one
good
of these
to
recurring characters here.
me. Sounds good to me. I'm here for it.
Would you like to kind of maybe end on one of the one of the many conspiracy theories in which you could elaborate on that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, how exciting! Let's go with one that I think most people could probably easily get on board with. Is that there is no such thing anymore as a Democrat or a Republican.
Mm.
There's no such thing as left and right. It maintains itself to be the Epstein class of corrupt government and the people who have the power to do something about it. So,
Hey, you know what? That sounds, you know, at a certain point in time, I think people, it was easier to kind of fool people on this side is this side is that, and then you have the
right,
option to go with a third, right?
right.
When in reality, it kind of seems like a stage play where they're like, hey, you know, if we show them that there is this and that, maybe we can divide this place up and try to get the most out of these people.
It's divide and conquer. It's simple economics, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's like our society is not it's not great when we are divided, when we fight each other over stupid stuff like racism, social class,
Right,
monetary value. It's like those things are blinders
right,
to what is the actuality, who is the real, for lack of a better term again, the enemy.
right, right.
And I'm not saying that I'm like, you know, hey, I'm gonna go kick down the doors at the White House and do this and that. I'm just
Right.
saying these are some things that people
These
talk
are
about.
things. These are some
Hey,
things. And it's bigger too than just the idea of being in the United States. It's truly a worldwide phenomenon where people are recognizing, hey, systems that aren't serving us aren't serving us. Just the
yeah.
simple reality of stating that kind of thing out loud starts getting the question in more people's heads, like what are we doing here? Why aren't we doing something that actually benefits us and our families and our friends and our neighbors and all of our people when there's clearly a tremendous amount of suffering happening that probably doesn't need to be.
Yeah. You know what's funny is on this topic of government, um, it's that time of season where people are putting those commercials out, rallying against other people and trying to put themselves up. I saw a commercial the other day, or an ad or whatever you want to call it, for someone that is running locally. First of all, this person was asking for money. I've drove past this person's house multiple times, and I can fit like 4 or 5 of my houses in that guy's house.
Uh-huh.
Why
Uh-huh.
are you
Correct.
asking taxpayers to help you campaign? You
Correct.
clearly don't need it. Like
Correct. Right.
that
Yeah, a
makes
lot of
me
them are
sick.
afraid to put their money where their mouth is, and I do understand. There's kind of that's also a double-edged sword because common folk like you and I who have perhaps the desire to make some sort of change. Well, are we able to put out $15 million to
Dude,
to
I
run up
can't even
against
make the
whoever we
commercial to ask for money.
Right, exactly. Like, are we really able to do that? And in my mind, that would be an example of a system that isn't serving us. Uh,
Mm,
but you know, it really does come down to are we doing what's going to evolve us as a species? And it because it really obviously it has something to do with us socially because we want to be represented by our government, and government in and of itself is not a bad thing. Once again,
absolutely.
government is a tool that is meant to be utilized to assist the people. That is the purpose of government, especially when you have millions and hundreds of millions and billions of people that you're talking about.
Yeah,
So
somebody needs to organize it.
exactly. So government has a tremendously important role, but if there are systems that aren't serving it, well, then what is it serving? And that's when you could kind of open your consciousness a little bit. And by the way, the I said the Epstein class instead of like the upper class because I don't think they're like even the one percenters. It really is like it's just the absolute creeps of the world that
Like,
are
who are
decisions.
these people? You don't even know about them until something happens, maybe.
Exactly, and specifically to speak to the United States, a lot of the people that are making decisions aren't elected at all.
Mm.
A lot of them are CEOs, and God
Oh
forbid,
yeah.
God forbid, you know, one of those 13 CEOs makes a bad decision. It affects hundreds of millions of people. Immediately think to fuel prices and food prices, and How
Were we
little.
not told by our forefathers that if the bank controls what we have, then we have nothing?
Exactly, exactly.
Oh,
And a lot of times when I'll tell that to people too, they'll be like, "Oh, so vote," and I'm like, "Well, but that is a system that isn't working, is it?"
dude.
It's like, how long ago was a vote something that determined the factor to whether or not we went to war with another country? I mean, we've
You know how easily you can stuff a ballot box? Like, I
right,
don't.
exactly, exactly. Like, yeah, so I think very little of the person that we elect, or perhaps the heads of the people that get all the media that's bought and paid for as coverage,
Yeah.
but a lot more to do with the actual decision making process. So I think that's also an important topic that more and more people should be organizing with,
So
because
there are elected officials to be face, but
right,
then there are
right,
brains
exactly.
behind that with the strings going, no, you have to do
Correct.
this. Ah,
Correct. And
I,
when it really comes down to it, there are millions of us and there are very, very few of them.
and
Probably
somehow we feel powerless,
right, right, exactly. Yeah. As though the people who would press a button wouldn't also be one of us.
right?
So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Just an
Things to
interesting
think about.
just an interesting thought.
Man, and you know that really does tie into everything that we have because again, our system here is Democratic Republic, I guess to
Right,
say the most. I think we
right.
forget sometimes that it is a republic system that we
Yes.
are dealing with here. We just copied things from well from uh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right.
and we saw how that went. So
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
ooh, boy. And again, I guess in the grand scheme of things, I would definitely rather have this than maybe, and again, I'm not knocking it. I don't want someone from that country coming to my door and
Yeah,
checking me on it. It's better than some things, some other systems in the world that I would be
right.
very uncomfortable with being a part of, to be completely honest with you.
For sure.
Whether that be like police state up front in your
Correct.
face,
Correct.
or we all share everything and everything belongs to the government and not to you. We all
Correct.
know what I'm
Kind
talking
of
about. I don't think,
problematic, historically speaking.
hey man, nobody likes that shit.
No,
Um,
no.
and you know, like you said earlier, government or organization of some sort is absolutely necessary for humans to move forward because even
Correct.
before we had these whole government, again, I come from a lineage, half of me does, where there are tribes, there are
Right.
people in charge of those tribes. And I feel
Right.
like corruption wasn't such a big thing because you were only in charge of a certain group of people and the welfare of a certain group of people.
Right.
Instead of millions of people that you could prospectively do something with. The greater good is focused more on this familial thing, your
Yeah.
communal thing, rather
Yeah.
than what can we do with all these people, this labor force, this workforce to build these modern day pyramids for people, or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Build a
you
Bass Pro Shops. You know?
hey, all in the namesake of for you to go in there afterwards and spend your
Right.
money again on things you might or might not need.
Exactly. Exactly.
And again, capitalism, I respect it. It's again, that's not a thing in and of itself that
Right.
is a bad thing. But when corruption gets introduced to certain things, that's when stuff starts going wrong.
Yes.
And we already know that people are not infallible to any degree.
Right. Right.
Sometimes good people do bad things, or they're put in a
Right.
position where they have to, or whatever the case is. Um, it's just not as simple as being a good person or not.
Right. Right.
And a lot of credit has to be given to people that actually stick to their guns and their morals. Again, being a good person or whatever it is not just, oh, I'm gonna go out in public and show people that I'm doing charity, I'm doing donations, that I'm doing
Right.
this and that. It's like, bro, when nobody is watching, absolutely nobody, who are you then?
Correct. What kind of integrity do you have?
Exactly. And
Right.
that's whether you believe in a God or not, it's you holding yourself accountable to these standards that
Yes.
really is important. And
Yes.
you know, especially if you're a parent. I myself am not, but you want to show your children the correct way to live, to think, to be.
Yeah.
Um, obviously there are authority figures you have to listen to some degree, but you have to also be able to discern within your own understanding.
Right. Right. Yeah, for from my own point of view, especially being a new father, Um, I want to give him that degree of authority and understanding that, look, you got to listen to me, but also to have that balance where it's, hey, you have to listen to me, but it's coming from a place of love, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
um, the alternative to love, of course, is hatred. And the alternative to me being a good father would be being a tyrant. And I
yeah.
have no interest in being that. So yeah, it really does come down. It's the tribe mentality of creating systems of good morality and coming down to the nuclear family. So the tribe is what you can see, right? The family is what you are, and then the government is what is supposed to be protecting that. So
In a perfect world, that
right,
sounds amazing.
right, right. That it does. That it does.
Oh man. And we can again when we get on another, podcast, we can talk more into that kind of stuff.
For sure.
It is, I don't want to burn out my listeners and stuff
Oh,
like that.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
But as everybody knows, we are just there are an, almost an infinite amount of possibilities of things that we can talk about because life continues on and new things come up every day. And there are things that we, again, lost history, lost information, that still very much applies to a modern day standard. Um, so I guess one last thing that I want to know personally from you is, do you believe that there are other entities, maybe with whether it's inside of the earth, walking among us, outside of our universe, outside of our galaxy? Do you believe in other forms of life that are not necessarily maybe carbon-based humanoid people?
Um, from my perspective, and perhaps I'm no professional on the matter, but from what I can
I don't think any of
observe,
us are.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Right. From what I can observe, it doesn't make sense that we're it. I mean, what? It's 2% of the world's oceans have been explored. We still have no idea what's in 98% of them. What about there? You know, how
Yeah,
about how about the Amazon rainforest, where we still are continuously making new discoveries on different plant life? We don't know what's there. So if we conceptualize for whatever reason that we are alone, being that we're still constantly making new discoveries about how
mhm,
not alone we are, how could we possibly conceptualize that it's just us? I mean, if we're constantly making discoveries on this planet, what else is there? And being that everything is frequency, it begs to differ. What do we consider life?
true.
So if everything has an energy to it, I mean, everything is a frequency, so it carries an energy. So couldn't it be said that energy is life?
True. I mean, there might be a goo out there that is smarter than we are. There might
Right,
be
right,
a cosmic flower that might just know everything.
exactly.
And like you said, even just energy that is not physical to
Right,
touch, see, say, like I can't taste it or whatever,
right,
that might be a lot more intelligent than myself.
right, right.
My understanding is very minute in the grand scheme of
Oh,
things, I
sure,
would
sure.
say. Not to say that I am ignorant. Well, I
Right.
guess I am ignorant. I'm not stupid, but
Oh,
I am ignorant to some things, which is totally fine.
it's not for
Um,
lack of trying.
no. I tell my wife all the time, like one of my biggest, I feel, tragedies in life is that I do not have enough time to find the answers to all the questions that I am asking.
Right.
Um, you know, it's not because I don't want these answers to make myself feel better. I am just a naturally inquisitive person, like I'm sure you are.
Yes.
And it kind of does bite me in the ass a little bit that I might not be able to get the answers that I'm looking for, but in doing these types of things, this is the closest that I will get to understanding what is around me, and
Right.
this is good enough for me, man. I
Right.
cannot
Right. For
beat
sure.
my brains over things that are impossible for me to do.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I have a little blue notebook that I use, and every once in a while I'll jot down notes. And my to do list in that book is growing ever more quickly than I'm able to
You need
check.
a new book.
At the end of the day, if everybody is surviving and happy, and maybe you have some free time to thrive within that, then that's really all that you can ask for. And hey, a cherry on top is ascending your consciousness, which doesn't come without its risk, because you start to perhaps lose some of your sanity when you realize how much of what is being told to us hasn't been true. So yeah, it's an interesting.
Don't say that, man, because as soon as we get off here, I'm gonna have an existential crisis.
Yeah, for real, right? Yeah, yeah.
And before we get out of here, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave with any of our listeners out there?
Hey man, you know what? I'll give a totally real piece of advice and kind of tie it back to some of the stories I'd hit on earlier. Get CPR first aid training. That was so. I mean, in my profession of being a river guide and having some of those other rescue credentials, that's very helpful. But 2 weeks ago, my son collapsed suddenly and without any explanation. Still to this day, we still have no explanation to
Hmm.
it. And I performed CPR on him. And once, by the time 911 showed up, they were able to see that he had gotten back a pulse. But I know for certain that he did not have one because 3 weeks before I had to perform CPR, I'd actually just re-upped my certs. So yeah, I did the whole 9 yards. I checked for pulse. I checked, I did a throat swab and just did the entire thing exactly as it's meant to be done. And with that, he was able to receive life-saving CPR within a minute of of him going unconscious, and he's completely back to normal now. He's, at least as far as the doctors and us as the parents can tell, he's completely happy and healthy, and you'd never know that we lost a week in the hospital. Uh,
Hmm.
but
Well, first of all, I mean, I really want to tell you, like, I'm glad everything is okay.
yes, yeah,
That's the last thing that we want to hear, obviously, but
right,
you know, in a way, it's kind of crazy because again, there's a scientific explanation to CPR, but in a
right.
very other way, did you not transfer your own energy into this person?
Oh, absolutely. Well, as I was giving him CPR, so his mother had run him outside to me where I was working on my bus, and we laid there in the grass performing CPR. And I can't help but think some degree of how much time we all spend together outside and having a meaningful touch on the earth and a caring perspective of love towards this planet that we are all inhabiting. I can't help but think that that had something to do with it. Uh,
Hmm.
I mean, the simple feeling of how good it feels to touch grass after a long day of work, to literally watching my son come back to life.
Right.
That's, I can't help but not make that same connection. Um,
Hmm.
and even after the week that I had, after we had come back from the hospital and all come home, I found myself meditating in that spot to thank the earth for whatever contribution it had. And even if there's nothing measurable to that, even if sciences can't explain what that kind of phenomenon was, I can't help but know that all of the weight of the and all of the pain of that event has been lifted off of my shoulders.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's definitely a very deep connection that I
Dude,
that I and
thank you, nature.
yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Oh man, I tell you, and it's funny because yeah, grass is alive. Plants
Right,
are alive. They give you oxygen, they take away things,
right,
carbon and all that. And it's like
right.
I feel like yeah, it's nice that I mean, obviously, if you want to go to the hospital or whatever,
Oh yeah,
at that point,
which we did.
you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
in
for
that
sure.
moment, you have to wait for someone to come and get you, or
Right.
you have to actually go somewhere, and who knows how far that is.
Exactly. Right.
So first of all, I'm glad that you had just the CPR on deck, first of all.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that everything is okay. And for those who are listening, we did want to schedule this one for last week, but given circumstance, I am not, who, come on now.
Yeah.
Um, but again, everybody here, we're just so thankful that everything turned out great. Regardless if I'm just meeting or not, that's not something that I wish on anybody, to
For
be
sure.
real with you.
For sure.
So I'm so glad that everything turned out great, and I'm pretty sure that your quick actions and you understanding, even wife bringing her out and
Right.
understanding what the situation is,
Right.
all of those seconds matter.
She was the first responder. That's the
Exactly.
thing. You know, people have been trying to come up to me. You saved his life. You saved, and I'm like, she was the first responder.
Yeah, hold up, man.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just put it out there. She was the first one to make that very very quick decision, which
Man,
seconds mattered.
man,
So
bless you all. I
yeah,
tell you.
for sure.
Oh man. Well, we will work on scheduling for another episode because I
Yeah.
am honestly more than thrilled to have you on.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy
I'm
to be.
so glad that I'm glad you had the time because you are a very busy person. I understand.
Oh
Such
yeah.
as everyone else is here.
Yes.
And the time again is one thing that we can pay for it, but you can't get it back.
Exactly. That's right.
And there is no monetary value to someone's time if they really care about their lives and stuff. I tell my family all the time, I can take care of you monetarily, I can do this, I can do that. But honestly, the best thing I can give you is my attention, my time, my being, my care.
Yes.
Same thing goes for friends and colleagues. Now with you, same thing, man. I want sharing my time with you. It's worth it, is what I'm going to
Absolutely.
say.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate this greatly. Thank you for having me.
Oh, not a problem, not a problem. And again, we're just starting out here, and a lot of people would be like, "Well, I don't want to be on a show that has like, just starting out or this, that, the other." But if you understand what is the basis of what we're doing here, everybody's got to start somewhere. Let's be clear on that. No matter what
Right.
it is that you're doing,
Right.
and support and building a community is one thing. If I were not trying to actively work to do this, obviously nothing would get done. So everybody that is supporting, be it listeners, people that come on here, every single one of you people gives me the energy to continue on doing whatever it is that I need to do. And some days, I'll be honest with you, I don't have it, but I feel a sense of duty sometimes doing this thing. And it's a great thing, for a lot of people are lost in life. I mean, I'm not saying I have my life together, by no means necessary.
Right.
But if I can help somebody, not even with my own advice, but just if they hear some people talk about the same things that they are going through, and that might help,
Yeah.
so be it, man. I'm not a therapist. I'm not licensed or anything like that but we're not trying to do that. We're just
Right.
sharing experiences to let you know that you are not completely alone in this journey by yourself. So many people, even if they make $1 million a year, don't know who they are. Like, and that's what we're trying to do here is figure out where we're supposed to be, who we are as people, and how we're supposed to connect with each other. And the show's not about numbers. Let's be honest. It's about connection. It's
Yeah.
about growing naturally. I don't care if it's 2 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever. So be it. The main thing is we're getting to give you what we believe that we can.
That's
Um, and with that being said, to be able to find us, obviously, we are on Instagram at FCTD Podcast, um, on YouTube under the same name, and also on TikTok and Spotify under FCTD Podcast. We're still, of course, working on some other avenues and channels to get people onto, but it seems like YouTube is like the main way that most of our listeners are finding us. So, obviously, as we go on and continue, if anybody has any comments, suggestions, or whatever it be, I am all open to it, man. It's like I am. This show is for you, so you tell me what you need, right? That kind of stuff. And I really, again, thank you so much for being on. Um, I'll let the people know this week that we are episode is going to happen on Friday, and I will see everybody in the next episode.
Awesome.